All right, it's the battle of the action cams. We have the DJI Action 4 and the GoPro Hero 12 Black. We're gonna see how these bad boys perform. Today, we're behind the boat. We're gonna take them wake surfing. After that, we might go do some skimboarding, do some snorkeling underwater. Let's see if you guys can spot a difference on quality, and I'm gonna see if I can spot a difference on performance. And we will tell you what the unanimous decision for the ultimate winner of the battle of the action cams after this video. So at the end of this video, we're gonna reveal which camera is the DJI Action 4 and which camera is the GoPro Hero 12. But without skipping forward, I want you guys to comment below which footage you think is the GoPro and which footage you think is the DJI Action 4. But right off the bat, I noticed that camera A is a little bit more bright. I could see my face and details more. However, camera B had a lot more color and a little bit more contrasty feel, which almost looked like it was already color corrected in a way. So I would say camera B looked a little bit more true to what the day was like. Seems to be like a little bit of like a pinkish red tint on camera A. And on terms of exposure, I definitely give it to camera A. But in terms of true color and what that day looked like, I would say I'd have to give it to camera B. And even though the exposure is a little bit lower, we can always bring that up in post editing. It's going to be a lot more difficult to change the colors around on camera A in post editing. So both these cameras shoot 4K 120, and I have to say they both look buttery smooth. I have to give it a tie on that one. All right, you saw it in slow-mo with the pole. Now it's time to go POV behind the boat from my point of view. So POV shots are really important to me on what camera comes on top, because that's when I get the opportunity to really use the action cam. As you can see, there's not too much of an exposure difference on this shot. I think the lighting might have been better compared to the previous shot. So camera B definitely isn't struggling with exposure on this one. And in fact, I think it might be excelling on color. If you look closely at my board and the boat, you'll kind of see like a pinkish reddish tint, but the whites and the grays are coming out much more true on camera B. So keep in mind, these settings are straight out of the box and set to the exact same settings, especially on field of view. So you'll notice that one camera has a slightly wider field of view, which is exactly what you want for POV shots. And they're both set to wide. So audio can be pretty important for people sometimes if they're vlogging, especially if the camera's wet. So we wanted to put that to the test. So while we're here, why don't we test out the audio? Give her a little shake. I've been really trying, baby. Trying to hold back these feelings for so long. And if you feel like I do, then darling, oh, come on. Come on. Ooh, let's get it on. Ooh, oh, darling sugar, let's get it on. All right, we are at the beach. We made it. I'm gonna get some skim clips, POV, and see how they compare. So we got a lot better lighting this day with the skim session, and you could tell right away the colors significantly different from camera A and B. I personally think that camera B has a lot more vibrant colors to it, not as washed out as camera A. Both look great in this lighting, but I think camera B is still coming on top. All right, so let's go back to the studio, reveal which camera is which footage, and there's some things I liked about both cameras, but really ultimately come to the decision which camera comes on top. All right, so it's time to reveal the footage. Camera A is the GoPro Hero 12 and camera B is the DJI Action 4. And clearly on the footage, I think out of box, the best, most vibrant colors goes to camera B, which is the Action 4, because it has this dedicated temperature sensor. The colors just seem a lot more true to reality. Color excelled on the Action 4 thanks to that dedicated temperature sensor. I'd say overall quality on both cameras, they're insane. I mean, the fact that footage can be this good and we're having to look at those small, fine details to figure out which camera is best between the GoPro and the Action 4. I mean, you're not going to go wrong getting footage with either one. I think there might be a slight advantage to GoPro on the exposure side, but it's such a slight difference. I'd much rather go in and bump up the exposure on the DJI if I was going to do any post editing than go in and do a bunch of color correcting. So overall, I'd still much rather have really good, true, crispy colors. As far as usability goes on these two cameras, at first I was a little biased towards GoPro because that's what I was used to using. But once I got used to Action 4, I realized it was really easy to go into the settings, change them to what I wanted, and it ended up being a little bit easier than the GoPro, and especially the quick capture. I really like that function where as soon as I pushed that record button when the camera was totally off, instantly started recording, compared to GoPro had that 3-second delay or so. Another thing too is I have to give a point to GoPro on the playback. So when we were filming in slow motion, there's nothing better than getting that sick shot and being able to play back super buttery slow-mo on the actual camera. And unfortunately on the DJI, it comes through really choppy. So DJI, I would love to see a firmware update where we can actually play back our 120 4K footage in buttery slow-mo like we can do on the GoPro. It's really important to be able to, when you're using the Action Cam, to be able to change the mounting systems, whether you're doing POV, handheld, maybe a pole. Right now we have the DJI and the GoPro on this dual mounting system. And maybe sometimes you want to shoot specifically for social media and you want to mount it vertically. And with the GoPro, we have your standard kind of classic setup where you have to unscrew the little mounting system, find your other mount, and then screw it back on like that. But what I love about the DJI, and I think this is one of the coolest features, I mean, they both kill it on quality of footage, but to me, this is so important for an action cam to be able to switch from mount to mount, is you just unsnap, and then it just snaps right on magnetically, boom. I just changed it in about 3 or 4 seconds. So as far as mounting and usability goes, the DJI for sure gets this one. So we are going to give GoPro a point for the case that it came with. I mean, we got the DJI, it didn't come with a case, so thankfully Connor had a extra case that I could put all of my mounts and batteries and cords and SD cards and stuff in. So point to GoPro for what it comes with when you do actually purchase the camera. Okay, so battery life. Compared to the GoPro standard battery, DJI definitely takes the cake on battery life. However, when we compared it to GoPro's Enduro battery, the one with the little white ends on it, I'd say they're pretty much the same. We were so focused on getting shots, we didn't really put the batteries to like a long lasting test. But I think if you have the Enduro battery for the GoPro, then you're probably just in line with the DJI Action 4 camera as well. So apparently DJI has this deep freeze technology on their batteries where they last longer in cold weather. I'm really excited to try it. Right now it's summertime, so we're not going to be snowboarding anytime soon, but maybe we'll do a video kind of putting that to the test in the future. And like I said, I'm not a techie guy. I just want something that I can take out there, conveniently have it perform in some rad conditions and make sure that I come out with the best clips possible. But my camera guy is a total nerd when it comes to this stuff, so I'm going to let him talk to you about some of the intricacies of all the specs that the cameras have to offer.
All right, so I've been filming with Austin for a really long time, using a bunch of different cameras, whether it's my big camera or these small action cameras. So I got really comfortable using a GoPro, but when it comes down to which camera I think is better, I'm giving it to the DJI. It does have the D-Log, the 10-bit, and while GoPro does have a flat profile, an actual log footage, something that's easier to convert to Rec 709, I'm going with DJI on this. It had great dynamic range, which means if the shadows are a little too dark and the highlights are a little too bright, it's a little bit easier to recover with the DJI in post-production. Now, the mounting system, while I'm filming him, like he said, it's game-changing. I always want to get as many different angles that I possibly can. Sometimes I'll set up mounts on the boat and then I'll hand it to him for a mouth mount, and then I also have a pole. So to save that time and just be able to just click it on and be ready to go, massive point to DJI for that. Using the camera, switching between settings, he might go from talking to wanting some slow-mo clips. Couple clicks on the back of this touchscreen here, and you know it's locked in and good to go. The GoPro, still really good. You can still save custom presets, but it's a little bit clunkier, easier to hit the wrong thing. So given the point there, again, to the Action 4. And another thing that I love with the DJI is they make a lot of great products, like these microphones we're using right now. So if you're a vlogger, it's great to be able to use this microphone and just instantly connect. The moment you hit record, it's recording the audio as well. So in terms of usability and using other things like microphones, DJI has the point there. But I will say, with the touchscreen in the water, Sometimes you want to switch settings in the water. Once there were any water droplets on this camera, it was really hard to change the settings, to unlock the screen, to do anything. The GoPro definitely gets a point on in water being able to change settings. Yeah, it was a lot more reliable while it was wet. The coating on the lenses, water droplets definitely stayed on the DJI a little bit more. Caught myself having to either wipe it or try to blow the water droplets off a lot more. Now, that's going to happen with whatever action camera you have, but the coating that comes with the GoPro lens is a little bit more water resistant and kind of beads off just a little bit easier.
Chime in. That is a massive deal. Okay, I mean, sometimes
It's a big deal.
you get that shot, and that it's only happens you all day trying to get a barrel, and you finally get that barrel shot, and there's a water droplet on the lens. It just ruins your whole video. So, got to give it to GoPro on the hydrodynamic coating on the lens.
Yeah, so Austin seems like a really nice guy, but if I miss the shot because there's a water droplet on that, he gets really mad. He starts screaming at me. I don't want it to be my fault. I'm just constantly scared that he's going to get so mad at me because I missed the shot because of one water droplet. So all in all, as a tech guy, I'm going with the DJI. But GoPro is still a great camera.
All right, thanks, Connor. Actually, just for the record, I never yell at Connor. Anyways, so get back to which camera we think is better. Obviously, I think both cameras have their advantages, but the DJI is $100 cheaper. Keep in mind, you're gonna have to buy a case because it didn't come with one. But all that being said, we'll let you decide which camera is right for you.